Hi, I'm Sean with Green Axle Bikes. I'm going to be talking about the Green Axle bike that I'll be taking on my tour. Let me start talking about the features of it. This bike is built on a Yuba Mundo frame. This is one of my favorite frames because it's so strong. I think they make extraordinary car replacement electric bikes, and I feel so secure when I'm fully loaded up and moving at 20 miles an hour. This bike really is a steady bike with this frame. On the touring bike, I'm using an 8Fun mid-drive motor. This is a Bafang at 750 watts. What it does is it drives the crank right over here. And when it drives the crank then spins the rear gearbox back here, which is a roll-off hub. For those of you not familiar with roll-offs, they've got 14, it's an internal geared hub, but it's got 14 gears instead of the usual 6 or 7 and a really wide gear ratio. The beauty of that really wide gear ratio is one of the things is you can just tractor along in soft sand. You can see my tire tracks here and how soft the sand is, and by putting it at low gear and using that mid-drive, I just motor along. This is something you'd have a hard time doing with a hub drive motor. Would really want to bog down and overheat. These Green Axle bikes have got, of course, Green Axle batteries, and that's one right there in that long white tube clamped between the footrests. There's one on this side, and there's one on that side over there. And actually, the two batteries are one, and they meet in the middle here where the BMS lives in this electrical junction box. This electrical junction box also, of course, has a key, so you can, it's just a regular big battery, 100 amp battery disconnect key. And inside is also a 12-volt converter that converts the 58 volts of the battery down to 12 so that we can run an automotive style electrical system. The benefits of that automotive style electrical system means you never have to mess around with batteries or trying to turn them on and off. When you want to turn on your lights, you just flick the switch on the handlebars, and in the side case are some very bright flashing LEDs that flash when you flick that switch. The front headlight comes on. It's hard to see in the daylight, but this headlight is immensely bright. It's at least as bright as an automobile headlight, not brighter. And finally, we have a super bright flashing LED in the back. You never have to worry about your batteries running down because you're running on the monster batteries that are on this bike. I love this feature because it's so easy for me to just turn on the lights whenever I'm in a dark spot, shady spot, think I need them, or whenever I need a little bit of extra security because the traffic's a little bit crazy. Of course, that 12-volt electrical system means we can do all kinds of cool things. For example, here on the handlebars we have a 12-volt to USB charger. So we can just flick the switch and turn on and off the USB charging. Right now it's charging up my tablet, my Android tablet. And with the Android tablet, of course, I've got a OpenStreetMaps on it and telephone and everything else I need to communicate. The Android tablet also has an app, and the BMS down here, which as I said is inside the center case, has a Bluetooth radio on it. So the BMS talks to the app on my Android tablet via Bluetooth radio, and it conveys all the information about the battery, such as the voltage of each parallel group of cells. I find this the most accurate and useful way to monitor the state of the battery's health. And the Bluetooth radio sure makes it easy to do. Also, unique to the Green Axle bikes is this front electrical junction box. And it's here that a lot of the wiring for the dash goes, all the 12-volt system comes in here, and it's here where the switch makes all its connections. It's all hooked up via post and peg wiring so that it's easy to work on and it's rugged and reliable. Same way that you would wire a boat. Of course, when you're traveling and touring, you got to carry your chargers along, so I sandwiched them here above this Yuba deck. I put 2 chargers on, and together they put out about 1,000 watts. They're wired in parallel. and you can run either one or run the other. One of them runs 500 watts, so if you're pulling up to a 7-Eleven and you want to grab a quick 10-minute charge while you grab a cup of coffee or whatever, then you can run both chargers at once. Of course, it helps to have a cord handy to charge with, and rather than reach into the panniers, at Green Axle we use this method here. And this post just simply lives here all the time. As you can see, this extension cord, it's got a lot of spring on it, and it sort of coils itself back up, so you can just take it down and charge up whenever you need to. This extra outlet here is a stealth charger. It's so you can tuck this into your pannier and charge your laptop without it being seen while you're at the library or doing what else you need, because most laptops don't charge up well on USB. The roll-off hub on this bike is really wonderful. However, despite the fact that they do shift under load, they certainly don't shift easily under load. So I've had an electric clutch. When you're ready to shift, you just push this button with your left hand. It momentarily shuts off the motor. And while you're holding your thumb down, you come over here and twist the roll-off gear selector. Well, more mundane features include Schwalbe Marathon tires. As you know, I mean, if you've toured, you ride Schwalbe Marathons. If you don't want to get flats and you want your tires to last a long time, you ride Schwalbe Marathons. Of course, they all have the really thick thorn-proof tubes in them. It's got that nice Yuba basket accessory. While I'm touring, I just keep a backpack in it so I can toss it over my shoulder or keep all my electronics in it. Toss it over my shoulder whenever I go shopping or leave the bike for a while. I love this Studbuster seat post. It really makes the bike ride like a Cadillac, and I've got that big gel seat out there. We'll try it and see how it works on this trip. In my mind, the verdict's still out if it's more or less comfortable than a leather seat. Some of you may be surprised to see that I've chosen rim brakes on these bikes. Having toured and had my bike tossed on buses and trains and have it fallen down and getting beaten up generally, the people that I tour with that have got disc brakes seem to have a lot more trouble than I do. These brakes also are just easy to replace. Try finding a disc brake part when you're in Africa. Heck, you have a hard enough time finding any brake parts. Not that this bike will ever go to Africa particularly, this electric version, but just my experience world touring tells me that I'm just happier with these rim brakes on the bike versus the disc brakes. They're just less finicky and fussy and easy to adjust. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this quick tour, and I hope that you follow me and check in with me, and if we're close, come cycle with me for a while. I'd love to have the company. It's going to be a long trip looping the USA. Thanks, bye.